Bro, chill, bro. Who is that? That's your girl?
Yeah, it's 20.
That's your girl?
Yeah, it's 20.
You got a boyfriend? Yeah. But I just wanted your number right quick. That's all. Bro, she going, twin. I ain't gonna lie, bro. She going. I just wanted your number right quick.
So that's how you gonna do it?
It's all love.
Why your boyfriend so tender over here? Over you? You don't know?
I don't know.
My name's Jemiah. It's nice to meet you. I'm gonna call you, alright?
Alright, Shalom. First and foremost, I'm going to give all glory and honors to Yahweh, Bashem, Yahushai, Bashem, Merkak Double honors to the apostles and elders at GMS who taught me this truth. Peace and salutations to the Lord's elect and the 1/3. I'm the brother Barak. Lord willing, this will be another edifying lesson. And basically, you see these women out here, right? And in the first clip I put, you got these two Jakes, this E woman, right? And you can't be giving these bitches any attention, man. Why? Because they're hypergamous. They'll always go to the next big thing. The next shiny object, the next thing that's appealing, right? And you got this wicked ass motherfucker, going around talking to other women, other women who are already with a man. You know what I'm saying? And let's bring out some scriptures, right? The book of Ecclesiasticus 9:9. It says, "Sit not at all with another man's wife, nor sit down with her in thine arms, and spend not thy money with her at the wine, lest thine heart incline unto her, and so through thy desire thou fall into destruction." Why? Because, if you were doing this back then, if you were committing adultery, if you even just sit with another man, a man caught you, with, touching your woman, you'd be put to death. You know what I'm saying? Adultery, you shall be put to death, man. And that's how it is, And now this shit's normalized, this Esau, the so-called white man, who is the devil, the Bible speaks of, right? This man, he set up laws and things on earth to actually glorify and promote committing adultery. Because a woman, she can get, all her husband's money, or, not all, but, a good chunk of it, right? Or a good percentage of it, if she does, if she divorces her husband, right? They basically, and this is what they do, they're hypergamous, so, the law is set up for the hypergamous nature of the woman, right? What she'll do is she'll find a man with money, divorce that man, take the money, then move on to the next man with money, and then take that man's money, right? But, this fucking wicked dude, going around, which I don't believe the video was a skit. I believe it was legitimate, right? But, you have these wicked ass dudes out here, going, trying to, sleep with another man's wife, another man's woman, right? And, these people are going to get destroyed, and,
must have been bad because he had no problem with those jokes. He was just like, yo, let me, he was like, don't talk about my kids. And we're like, your wife is cool? And he's like, But when Kev kept calling him the karate man, that was killing me. That was killing me.
And now she had a kid. He's probably thinking, and a lot of people are like, well, hold on. Tom Brady got all this money.
Why does he need to do that?
No, he's got all this money, and he still couldn't keep his ex happy.
Oh, yeah, because they don't want money.
So maybe she wanted time, maybe she wanted attention. I don't know what she wanted. Tom seems to be happy. He's moved on. Clearly, she's moved on. But I think in the back of his mind, he's like, this ish probably was going on right in front of my face.
I don't know about that. But I don't know. Relationships end, man. It sucks, but they do. Also, it's probably hard. I bet Tom would even acknowledge it's probably hard being married to a guy with that
singular focus and drive.
Oh my God. Ex-wife. That's
the book of Leviticus 20:10. It says, And the man that committeth adultery with another man's wife, even he that committeth adultery with his neighbor's wife, the adulterer and the adulterer shall surely be put to death. Right? You got a lot of wicked ass motherfuckers out here, you know. And you know, Tom Brady, right? Which I believe he could be an Israelite, right? You know, this you know, his wife go and cheat on him with the jiu-jitsu instructor, right? You know, and you know, who knows what the fuck else she's doing, right? Because why these bitches, they get tired, you know, they get tired real quickly. You know, you can have all the money, all the fame, right? All these riches, you know, all the power, right? But you know, your woman's still gonna leave your ass, right? Because you know, they don't know what the fuck they want, right? This book of Proverbs 3:31-13. Give not thy strength unto women, nor thy ways to which that destroyeth kings. And you know, these people, what they do, they give all their money, time, you know, they get these women a wedding, $200,000, right? They give you all these different gifts, different purses, different cars. Just you know, just for behind the scenes, this woman sucking another dude's dick, right? Because these bitches, you know, they don't even care. You know, what happened? Who was the one who committed the sin? Who was the one who was deceived, right? It was Eve. Eve was deceived, right? And that's why these bitches, they don't have any accountability, right? Because it all stems back to the Garden of Eden, where she took on the philosophies of Esau, right? You know, she bit the fruit, which the fruit represents the philosophies of this devil. You know, and that's why you can't change them. You can't you know, there's no amount of words you can give them, no amount of rehabilitation, right? You can't change their surgery. You can't change their pussy with a vagina reconstruction surgery, because a lot of women are trying to do that to get their virginity back. You know, you can't fix that. You can't fix that pussy, you know. No, it's either the Lord's dealing with you, or he's not dealing with you, you know. Because these women, all they have come to offer is, you know, a dirty pussy, you know, a bad attitude, a lying tongue, right? But if the Lord's dealing with you, you know, you're gonna be what? You're gonna be you're a submissive woman, right? You are, you know, you listen, you know, you're not gathering abroad, you know, you're not dressing like a prostitute, right? But ultimately, these bitches out here, you know, one thing leads to another, right? You know, they have a, you know, personal trainer. You know, they want a personal trainer. They want to go on a girls' trip, right? And that's what a lot of things happen, you know. They go on these trips. You know, not only are they getting, you know, other dicks from other different men, but they're also, you know, fucking their friends. They're you know, they're doing all sorts of weird lesbian rituals, right? They're doing all sorts of drugs. You know, that's why the Lord got to kill these fucking people, man. He's gonna burn their faces off with a nuclear fire, right? This is Texas woman mauled to death by her own pit bull on her birthday, ripped her arm off while she screamed for help for over 90 minutes. And that's exactly what's happening, you know. Mass judgment coming out, right? You know, you got one man, he found out his woman was cheating on him, so he cut her legs off, her arms off. He left her whole body and her torso and her pussy, and kept her body and the head attached, right? You know, that's the type of shit, you know, these people are on, right? You know, these people, they're not playing around no more, right? what happens when another man find their woman cheating on them, right? Another man find their woman cheating on them. They some of these men, especially in these foreign countries, they lose it, man. They start crashing out. They start shooting their man and the woman, right? They start shooting themselves, right? They start shooting their kids, right? That's why these women destroy kings. That's why back in the day when different dynasties, different emperors, when somebody wanted to get revenge, they would send a woman to a certain king, as an agent, as a distraction, while they took over from behind the scenes, right? That's a type of shit, these women will do to you, right? Do not give your strength unto these women, and that's we weren't here to raise a big family, raise a fucking have how you say it, a wedding, with all these different types of gourmet dinners and vacations. Man, fuck that. No, this place is gonna get destroyed, man. You want to stay with these bitches, they have nothing to offer you. They have nothing, man. This book of 1 Corinthians 7, it says, "Now concerning the things whereof ye wrote unto me, it is good for a man not to touch a woman, nevertheless to avoid fornication." Right? "Let every man have his own wife, and let every woman have her own husband." Right? And then it goes down and it says, and then down here it says, "But this I say, brethren, the time is short. It remaineth that both they that have wives be as though they had none." Right? So even if you got a wife or somebody, don't be spending all that time, investing too much time, into this woman, right? You have to spend your time feeding the sheep of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, right? Because why these people get a wife and then baby, you're my world. You're the world to me. You're everything to me. They do everything they want that this woman asked for, right? Just for this woman to fucking leave him, right? So the prophets were warning us, long before, basically telling us, what? Because the time is short, right? We don't got much more time on this earth right before those nuclear missiles hit, right? People who are waxing worse and worse every day. What are you seeing? You seeing homeless women on the streets, homeless couples, right? This is the book of Ecclesiastes 12. It says, "Remember now thy Creator in the days of thy youth, while the evil days come not, nor the years draw nigh, when thou shalt say, I have no pleasure in them." Why? What's going to happen is, this is going to get a lot more worse, right? You see people on the streets, people screaming, people begging for food. Well, that's why you have to keep, in mind Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, because, that stuff's gonna happen to a lot more people, right? You know, and the only person who's going to be able to deliver you out of that destruction is Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. Right? Shalom.